Hello, everyone. Hi. This is my Bob Ross impression. We're about to talk about... welcome to Books and Brew. That wasn't an accident. That was just a... Wait, no, that wasn't a mistake. It was a happy little accident. I'm your host, Mike. Joining with me is Amber. Say hi, Amber.
Not like that, I'm not.
What? Is there a problem?
Yeah, that's the tone they use before they kill you.
That is like a serial killer's voice, isn't it? It's like,
Bob Ross is... Well, he wasn't even that low. He was just calm.
Bob Ross was super calm. Like, don't worry about it. We're gonna put a couple of happy trees over here. You know?
He is a happy tree.
He's absolutely a happy tree. You kidding me? How's your audio? Let me check your audio real quick.
I don't know, you always turn me off.
There you go. How dare you? How dare you? Well, I guess we should jump to some announcements real quick. First and foremost, we will not be streaming tomorrow.
Oh yeah, next week.
No Magic and Mossad this week, and unfortunately no one shot this week as well. However, we will repeat Mallholics this week. I need to get work on the second sequel for that one, because I loved Mallholics. It was one of my favorite one shots that I've ever run, mainly because I was born in the 90s, and it was a fun way to go sort of do a flashback of all this nostalgia, things that I'd forgotten. I was like, oh my god, I remember Orange Julius.
You know, I don't think I've ever eaten or drank anything from there, and if I have, I don't remember.
Really?
Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of Orange Julius where I lived.
It was okay.
It sounded good, but I think it only sounded good as a kid because it said the word orange. And
Yeah,
I
and
like
it's high
orange.
sugar. Every orange drink they served was high sugar, like beyond that.
Listen, you. It's like he also is an attention whore like his father, because he started kicking this shit out of me.
I'm not an attention whore.
The moment the stream started.
What indicated that I'm an attention whore? Yeah.
You're very good on streams, though. He's kicking me.
That doesn't translate. Just because I'm comfortable in front of a camera. And
Yeah, well,
talking,
he wants to be comfortable and he can't be seen right now.
not an attention whore.
He's
I
like
just demand attention. I just demand it.
He's like the cats.
I demand attention now. If you don't have attention on me, I feel sad.
That's probably what he feels.
Well, let's get into today's subject, because we're probably going to be on this subject for a while, to be very honest with you. And that is the Great Wheel. The Great Wheel of Cosmology within the D&D universe.
You're a wheel.
You're a wheel. Now, regardless if you're playing...
Oh.
I mean, the Great Wheel can definitely change. If you're running like a homebrew, or if you want, it's D&D, you can switch up whatever you want. But the way that D&D writes its astral planes, its outer planes, its inner planes, and everything in between, it gives you this guide of what you can expect when it comes to different planes of being and existence. Our players just went to the Feywild, which is still a part of the inner planes. It's not even the most wild thing you can experience, even though Feywild is generally like chaos. Just sort of like this magical Feywild energy. It's not the embodiment of chaos that you can imagine. Do you know, out of the top of your head, do you know any other planes besides Fey and Material?
Astral Sea.
The Astral Sea is technically not a plane.
It's not? I thought it was.
The Astral Sea is the ocean of stars and everything else in between planes. So think of it like little bubbles, like little planets floating in the world or in the universe, and the actual space is the Astral Sea.
I don't know if Hell's considered a plane.
There is Hades.
Yeah.
Which is sort of an equivalent, which is
that's
fun.
not hell, though. That's just...
There is the 9 hells.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, there is the 9 hells. Any others that you can think of?
I don't know. I mean, Fae's normally 1, Hell's normally 1, 9 hells, but Hell.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought Astral Sea was a different plane.
No, Astral Sea is sort of the in-between. Sort of like where dreadnoughts live and stuff. A lot of aberrations.
I mean, it's gonna sound stupid, but isn't there something like Celestia or some shit?
Yes, actually. Yeah. There is at Mount Celestia.
That's not a plane though, right?
It is a plane, actually.
Oh.
It is one of the outer planes. So let's go ahead and get into that. So let's talk about, first of all, let's talk about the easiest plane to talk about, the material plane. It is...
Do the elemental planes count?
They do.
I was like, technically I had a character for this.
Yes, there are we'll get into that. So you are actually correct. Yeah, there are 4 elemental planes, surrounded by what they call like the elemental chaos.
Our cats have the zoomies.
Yeah. So let's talk about the easiest one, material plane.
And the crashies by the sounds of it. What?
I'm waiting.
What? I had to say that one. I want to coin the slogan crashies. Here comes one now. Goes to you. Go ahead.
Okay. The material plane. Easy enough. It is essentially the plane that we all live on, or at least in D&D. That's where majority of campaigns are going to take place, is in the material plane. There's enough to explore in a world, you know, and that can fill an entire book, multiple, for instance. So there are, you know, you're going to explore and you know, experience everything on the material plane. But there are moments where the material plane crosses into different other planes. Yes, you in the back.
None of our books cover these?
I think there might be a book that does cover the great cosmology of D&D.
I feel like the Dungeon Master's Guide might.
It might. The only thing I don't think that D&D 5e does a lot is that they provide you with this wheel and they give you brief descriptions and they don't go into grave detail.
I think that's up to interpretation because every DM is different.
Well, you say that, but Wizards of the Coast did release a whole module about the Feywild.
Yeah.
So I would agree with you, but they did release something on another plane, so no, unfortunately not. It's just they have not explained too much in detail.
I mean, look how long that took.
True.
So
by the time I don't think by the time they get to the 9 hells, I think they have released a book about the 9 hells because there is a one-shot or like a campaign where you can go to the 9 hells. But there are so many other planes out there that it's difficult to say that when we'll ever get like a campaign about each one.
No.
So let's talk about the easiest ones right next. So imagine the material plane like a disc in the middle of this giant wheel, right? If you go overlapping the first one, you'll get the Feywild. The Feywild, and then below it is the Shadowfell. So I think we all...
Oh yeah, the Shadowfell.
Yeah, I think we can all we have an idea of what the Feywild is.
I feel like if you haven't been there or seen somebody play it out, like, you don't know. Unless you just read everything, then maybe.
Yeah. So let's see. I'm gonna get to the. There's a lot more things. It's crazy. So the Feywild and the Shadowfell. So they're right away before I wait for the thing to load. They are both mirrors. They are overlapping and underlapping the material plane, where you would find a large bog. In the material plane, you'll find a burnt forest. You know, in the Shadowfell, or you'll find a very vibrant lake with like magical essence in the Feywild.
For some reason, I thought you were gonna say, "Damn it, excuse me, burnt piece of toast."
It says here the Feywild is a place of unrestrained and awe-inspiring natural beauty. I think the key word to understand right there is that it is unrestrained, which is where the chaos of the Feywild sort of sits. It is always bathed in twilight. or perhaps rising and setting suns constantly with fireflies providing additional and haunting lights. It is a place of pure nature that is constantly going off, and I think we've talked about it numerous times that nature in itself isn't always good. It can be hard, it can be trickery.
Nature serves itself. It don't aim to please nobody.
Exactly.
So it's just like...
And you can only imagine what the creatures there who experience this on a day-to-day basis, how they act, how they perceive everything. So that's why Fae is usually kind of like aloft, and like they see things differently, and they someone's like, I own this, and you're like, haha, no one owns anything, type of like mentality.
Well, because I think the conception in actuality or in real life is that it's in the way of what you're doing, when in reality you're in the way of what it's doing, and that very much comes out in Fae. It's like, no, you're the one in the way. And I'm not about to wait for you, so
it's also described as an echo to the material plane, and a binding light that when shined upon the material plane leaves a shadow, which leads us to the Shadowfell. Once again, an equivalent to the material plane. It exists as a counterpart to the Feywild in the sense that it's a reflection or echo of the prime material plane. But unlike the Feywild, it is bleak, desolate, and full of death and decay, where Feywild is continuous growth and unbridled nature. The Shadowfell is the exact opposite of where this is where things come to die. This is where, if you are surviving in the Shadowfell, you are a hard motherfucker, because you have to try extra hard for things to live, grow, and eventually you better take advantage or it'll die, and that is it.
I think I get confused the Shadowfell with the Underdark.
The Underdark is essentially, you know what the Underdark is?
Underdark's a place though, not a plane, right?
No. The Underdark is, you know those stupid, like...
They're starting off strong.
Conspiracy theories about like mole men and there's underground tunnels, or there's like a core in the center of the earth. That's the Underdark.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's a place. It's not a... Damn. It's not a plane.
No.
Excuse me.
So it says here, the most striking and immediate impression a visitor of the plane of shadows would experience is the lack of color and no light. There is no sun. There is no moon. There is no stars adorn, and the vault of inky black sky above. And all things look as a color has been leached out and leaving nothing but black and white. It is a dimness, more like dark black and light black. That's what you see.
I wanted to say that Essek was from the Shadowfell, but I don't think he is. But I thought they introduced a character that was.
So, in Vox Machina, they do go to the Shadowfell. But I don't believe anyone's from the Shadowfell. I think, however, this is where Drow comes from. They do come from the Shadowfell.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought they came from there, but I don't think, like...
But Matt Mercer doesn't do it that way. Drows are just another race of elves that have their own sensitivity to light, but not necessarily to say that they are from this bleak and desolate place. Some people are, or some creatures are actually attracted to the Shadowfell, as it does emanate this sort of negativity and this negative energy, such as shadows, which are still undead, ghosts, vampires, and several other smart and dumb undead. So yeah, it's kind of like, you don't go here when you die.
I'd hope not.
But if you were dead on the material plane and you found a rift to the Shadowfell, you'd be almost pressed to go there because it feels good. There are like phenomenon that happens within Shadowfell, in which like dark magic is there to create creatures that could be summoned to the material plane. Sort of like this little demi-plane of shadow energy that creates these creatures, these monstrosities. So yeah, I personally don't know enough about the Shadowfell to allow players to go there. Like if you were to, like if Vera, who has the power to plane shift, was going to go, I think I want to visit the Shadowfell, you would have to search for a while to find anyone who'd be like, yeah, I have a fork that can go there.
I feel like she would have to understand what that is first. Like right now, I feel like the only way she'd understand that is if she was doing cleric-y shit and they like taught her, and I'd have to roll for it. But like by nature, I don't feel like she knows what that is.
You haven't studied in clerical shit in a while, so.
When I had the downtime, I made the center and stuff, and I said I studied.
True, but not like to say that you've been, doing an overall study. You have a goal in mind.
I don't have really the fucking time.
No.
Because something's trying to always kill me, and I can't exactly throw a book at it. My power don't work that way.
Now, so imagine again, sort of like this little oval, and that is the material plane, and then making a full circle above it and below it is the Feywild and the Shadowfell. So now we have a complete circle, right? Now surrounding that circle in a thin layer is another plane, the ethereal plane.
Oh yeah, I can't believe I forgot that one.
Now the ethereal plane is where ghosts go to. That is like, it's a strange...
Like limbo.
It's like a limbo. Well, there is a plane called limbo.
I know, but I'm like extra... I don't want to say extraterrestrial stuff, but like...
It's a strange... Here, I'll actually read it, but it is like a strange wisped echo of what the what the material plane into Feywild and everything else is. So I'm gonna try to find out, what is it. Okay, here we are. So here it is. It exists adjacent to the material plane, which includes the Feywild, the material plane, and the Shadowfell, because it includes all the inner planes. Let's see here. It is unknown whether or not the border of the ethereal plane is touched by the. Oh no, I'm not going to read that part. Yeah, it's even like even now I'm trying to read through it, and even like the wiki can't really fully describe what the ethereal plane is. Essentially, it's like almost like a crossing path, like a river of just nothing. Creatures can pass through the ethereal plane fairly easily if they were to cast a spell or drink a potion. It's accessible, and generally you become incorporeal. You become almost like a spirit yourself as you walk through the ethereal plane, moving through the material plane at the same time as you're doing so. It says here, when travelers cross into the border ethereal, they and all of their possessions are converted into ethereal equivalents. Metal becomes ethereal metal. Flesh becomes ethereal flesh, and so on, allowing free movement in any direction through solid matter on the adjacent plane. Since everything is premeditated with ethereality, air breathing can breathe ethereal air. So essentially, you become this is the ghost plane.
I feel like I found an equivalent in my head, but I feel like it's more of a way to refer to it than like a visual. But like what people say the veil is, and I don't mean to get like meta with people, but like essentially the veil is like the in between where like spooks don't go out and people don't go in. It's literally the veil in between both. And if it does get broken or supposedly you go through it, some weird shit starts happening because you're crossing over in somewhere you shouldn't be. But I feel like that's essentially what etherealness is like that veil in between.
Yeah, it's an in between. You called it a limbo, which I think is kind of very accurate to what it is. It says here, creatures that dwell primarily within the ethereal plane are ghosts, ethereal modders, and there are like certain creatures that can survive or blink between the ethereal and material plane, like phase spiders. where they just have this natural connection to this otherworldly plane. The funny thing about the ethereal plane is it doesn't provide anything. You know?
Now you just do some weird shit.
Yeah, I mean, because the way it works is that if you were a ghost, you would want to go to the Shadowfell. You would only exist within the ethereal plane as just a means to travel within the material plane. So it's almost like you can go there, but that's not your goal. Your goal is to get to the Shadowfell, and the Shadowfell offers this comfort to that. So it offers something. That's me. The Feywild is an unbridled nature offering magic. The ethereal plane doesn't offer anything. It's just the in-between, which honestly could make a good like plot hook. Like, what if the ethereal plane started to provide something? You know, what if like a wizard was like, no one thought anything about the ethereal plane. It's just there, but I found something, and now you can make a whole plot hook about that. Campaign 2.
You said a lot of things for campaign 2.
I know, that's what's funny. So it says here, while you're in the ethereal plane, a few things happen. First of all, no gravity. You can travel in between, up and down. You're a ghost. Normal time moves the same amount of time within the material plane. You can cast spells. They work just as normally, but they don't affect the material plane. Essentially, you're just traveling. You don't affect anything. You're just traveling. So that so far. Go back to my wheel here. I have a whole thing here. There we go. So we've got the material plane with the Feywild and Shadowfell, the ethereal plane surrounding everything, and now we have the raw elements that actually do make up those three inner planes: the Shadowfell, the material plane, the Feywild, the material plane, the Shadowfell. Because even though they are all echoes of each other, they are all made of something. There is ground to walk on. There is, bright colored lakes to swim in. There are, ever burning fires that are occurring, and surrounding all these, sort of blocking between that and the elemental planes, is the planes of air, water, fire, and earth. So it's just like this.
Is it really like Earth? Because I feel like Earth is just the plane, the regular plane.
No, there is an elemental plane of Earth.
Huh.
It's where Taos come from. It's where, sort of the idea of these Jinn. Genasies, Earth Genasies. The Earth plane is pretty interesting. It is essentially endless tunnels within the Earth, so you're always underground.
Sounds kind of like what's his name? Steven Universe, when they mine those gems out of like the Earth.
Oh yeah.
I mean, not everything's underground, but like they do dig like gems out of the dirt, and then like they dig other ones out.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. So the Earth material or the Earth plane is in fact have large clusters. Like you would be digging to Earth, and then you'll find a giant city or cluster made of gems and beautiful stones. Anything that would be a sediment or gem or anything that comes from the Earth can be found within the Earth elemental plane. You might even be able to find like plants that don't require sunlight, that give off their own illumination. You'll find fungi, things that grow underground and only need the nutrients of Earth, because I can only assume that the Earth plane is heavily, like, it's pure Earth.
Yeah.
It's got to have a bunch of nutrients for plants to live. Generally, like, Earth genies are kind of king there.
Sorry.
They call that their home.
Gotta do something real quick, don't I?
Well, let me see if I can split your attention. Other than the Earth plane, what other plane is there?
I was gonna say water, because that's where Iris is from.
Exactly. The water plane is an endless sea with no top, so you can't like take a breath. It is nothing but water. And the crazy thing about these elemental planes is that they're technically their own separate plane, their own little universe where it is endless. You can swim in one direction for eternity, and you'll never reach the bottom. The water plane is actually adjacent to the earth plane, which is a strange mentality. Like it doesn't make sense that these two planes are touching, but they're endless. You know, it's just the way this world works.
Well, can't they only come out if there's like a rift where you know how to transfer between?
Yeah. I mean, there's magic that can like you've done it before in previous campaigns where you can open a rift to the water plane or open a rift to the earth plane. Magic can pierce those veils. They are parallel. Yeah.
Hey, Shady.
They're shady. So the water plane.
I was like, who's talking?
There are Marids, which are water genies. There are what is it?
There's Marids. There's Tao.
No, Tao is the water. I mean the air.
Yeah.
No, we're talking about water.
Marids water.
Marids are water. There are
Euphrates.
Krakens.
Oh, I thought we were just talking about genies.
No, there's Leviathans and Krakens. There are water witches, water hags.
Yeah, we know about a couple of those.
So it is just like this infinite world of water where, I mean, as a DM, you can say that there is always like maybe a glimmering light coming from the top. You can do that if you want. Or you can just say it is endless darkness. If anyone's ever been in water where you can't see anything, by the way, that's one of my fears. It's just...
We didn't know it was one of your fears until you found out in VR.
Yeah, I experienced that. Oh my god, Big Bad Evil Game.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I don't know what to say. That's so heartwarming. Thank you so much. How was your stream? Hopefully you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for the raid.
That's thalassophobia.
Oh, that's what I have. Yeah, no, I can't. That is my biggest fear, is being in a place where I can't see.
It was interesting to see it firsthand. That's all I'm gonna say.
I actually, I freaked out. Yo, Big Bad. How was your stream? Hopefully it went well. Yeah, I have that Thessalonophonia thing because we were doing a VR thing.
All I gotta say is be glad you figured it out in VR and not in real life.
And I was doing this, I think it was called The Reef, and it was like an underwater experience, and I was in the middle of the ocean in VR, and I just looked around me and I just saw no landmarks, just nothing. And it started to mess with my brain, and I started to hyperventilate, and I was like, no. And I had to like get down on my knees and just go, no. So yeah, I found out that if I'm in the middle of the ocean, I'm gonna freak out.
Well, underwater, I think, with not being able to see anything is what freaks you out.
It says here, I had to deal with a nasty slime and a red cap in a sewer of disgusting mulch.
Muck.
I don't know why I said mulch.
Because they said much, but then they corrected
Red caps are little assholes.
I don't think I've ever fought a red cap.
You've never fought? They're like little dwarven guys with red caps, and they're found like underneath, underground, and they're little assholes. If you ever look at a picture of them, they even look like little gremlins.
I'll look at it. I'm gonna put red cap D&D though, because the red cap is also a mushroom.
And our short rest was interrupted by a writhing mass of rats.
They do look like little.
Yeah.
It literally says a red cap is a homicidal fey creature born of bloodlust.
Yes.
That's not good.
Imagine that, you're born of bloodlust. How does that work?
If anybody's seen Gravity Falls, it kind of reminds me of like an extreme edgelord version of those little dwarfs. Oh, they're ugly. Some of them are real ugly.
No, they look absolutely atrocious.
I know they're supposed to be little dwarfs, but like, to be honest, this is why people are afraid of gnomes. Like, if you were to show them this shit, they would think it's a gnome, like a garden.
Can I ask a question, Big Bad? Where were you when this red cap and these slime and you were in a sewer, right? Of disgusting muck. Were you in the material plane? Right now we're actually talking about the just the full cosmology of D&D.
Is the 1020 thing working?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did it work, Shady?
Knee deep in sewage.
Yeah.
Oh. When was the last time we were in a sewer?
I don't think we've been in. Oh no, we have been in one in
Put
our
you in
main
Coda.
campaign, but I mean, we said we were never going to go in a sewer again in our game that our other DM does. That's not streamed.
Because we were in a sewer for a literal 6 months. Like
Game time, but like in
No, in real time we were in there for 6 months.
Yeah.
Game time we were there for like maybe a full day. It sucked.
I think it was like probably weeks. I was more than a day in there.
Castlegar. That's a good name.
What?
That's a good name. Okay, so let's speed past sort of the other two that we are fully aware of. We talked about the water plane, the earth plane. There's the air plane, where we talked about where that's the Tao. That is a endless open sky. And there are small little rocks and platforms and like these floating islands that exist there. And then there's the fire plane, which I honestly feel is the most interesting of all the elemental planes, mainly because there is the actual city of Brass. So if you were to ever plane shift into the fire plane, there's the city of Brass, which is like a combination of like a merchant place where you can buy stuff from demons and succubus and devils and fire elementals, and there is a singular pillar that never leaves your sight. It's always in your peripheral, and the moment that you look away from it, it's right in front of you. It's like this real twisted place that you don't want to go to.
Yeah, I was like, that sounds like the black market or something. Like, you don't want to go there unless you know somebody, you know your way around, or like you're going with a friend.
Yeah. City of Brass, I mean, and the whole fire elemental plane is definitely a place you don't want to go to. So now that we've covered is the inner planes. All of that is one big circle. Elementals, this elemental chaos and different elements, to the ethereal plane, to the material plane, Feywild, and Shadowfell. Now we're expanding even further. Now, when it comes to D&D, I can only imagine that it would be astronomically rare that you would have the ability to plane shift into one of these outer planes. Because these are planes where gods live. These are planes where archdevils call home. These are planes where pure chaos and lawfulness coincide or are opposite in terms of the planes themselves, and they go into a circle. These are places that I don't think any real, like, unless it's like high stakes, I don't believe you would ever go to these places. I think the only thing that comes to mind in terms of other D&D shows probably is just Critical Role, because I can't imagine any other place that's gone to these outer planes.
I don't know if Dimension 20's done City of Brass, but I feel like Critical Role has done City of Brass, but briefly.
They have done City of Brass, they've done Mount Celestia, and they've done Pandemonium. That's all I remember. But
I think they went to the Nine Hells with Bertram.
That they went to Pandemonium.
Oh.
So let's talk about. There are and this is how it's broken up. There are the upper outer planes and the lower outer planes. I'll go and read them in order, and you can tell me which one you think sounds more interesting. There is Elysium, the Beastlands, Aboria, Yusgard, Limbo, Pandemonium, the Abyss. Thank you so much for the follow, Big Bad. Appreciate that.
Thank you. Sorry for the yawns. If you've been here before, you know that's my thing. It's Friday, man. I'm sorry.
There's the Abyss, and I'm gonna butcher this other name. Keresi, Hades. How do you say that? Gebena? Looks like a G. The way they have this text, it looks weird. The Nine Hells, Aberon, Mechanists, Arcadia, Mount Celestia, and I believe Bitopia.
There was one you said in
Gehenna?
there, and I
Gehenna.
Averina or something. The Abyss. And Elysium is part of Hades, no?
Hades is separate.
No, I know
What did you say? That something was part of a
Elysium.
Elysium. I'm not familiar.
Because there's 3 parts of Hades.
I'm not familiar.
I know, I had to do my research.
Exactly. Before we start assuming, we can say we think, but I don't think we know. Which one of these did any pop out of your mind, just as a curiosity?
Just the ones that I know.
Okay, let's find something that you don't know. And I'll even pick something that I
That
don't know
was
as
only
well.
like 3 out of all those.
I think an interesting one to talk about, mainly because the one shot we just did, and the possible connection that your character would have with this realm is Mechanist. So let's go and find that real quick. Wow, why can I not find it? Oh, there it is. Mechanist. It is a powerful plane of lawful neutral. It inhabits this sort of neutrality to a very lawful degree. It consists of only one layer where everything is in perfect order. Equal parts light, equal parts dark, heat and cold. The equal measures of all 4 elements exist here, and the entire plane is filled with interlocking wheels, thousands of miles or even more in diameter, slowly ticking in synchrony. Each disk has its own gravity extending in a sphere around it, enabling the surface to be a wheel of uninhabited, inhabited by Mystra, who once made it her home. Essentially, while you're in Mechanist, you can find like these little clockwork beams that call it home as well. I think they're like something grons. I'm gonna find them right now. They're like mecharons or something.
Well, like those things that
Mardrons.
Oh, I was gonna say the things in the new one shot they're doing for Critical Role. Because that's what he calls them, and they're little robots.
Oh yeah. So Mardrons are. So the interesting about Mardrons is that they are like robot creatures.
I don't want to spoil anything for anybody, so that's why I was just like.
Yeah. So essentially, they're robot creatures, and they become a little more upgraded the more they are like tasked and given. So essentially, a one-eyed Mardron.
Hey, Siege.
Yo, Siege. Is like the weakest. It's got a one eye. It's a circular body. And the way it's described is that these little mechanist circle one-eyed creatures can only carry on one task. That's what they do. What's your task? I open the door when someone comes. Perfect. That's what they do every day. That is, they work like a well-oiled machine. Duodrons, they pass butter. What is my purpose? I pass butter. Duodrons are the ones who can pass butter and go, oh my god. Because they have 2 eyes, look like a square, and they can carry on a maximum of 2 tasks. So you get the idea. It can go on to a triodon, a quadron, and a pentadron.
This is what Fresh Cut Grass's siblings were. Because it sounds like they only had one purpose, like he's the only one that was different.
It's possible. Whoa, no way.
We found out shit we probably weren't supposed to find out.
Yeah.
Oops.
There's also a decadron. So yeah, they're essentially the more upgraded they become, the more freaky they look. Like they become more freaky, where they have like more eyes, more limbs, more faces.
More is not always better, contrary to popular belief.
Yeah, they look very weird. And so that's the idea of Mechanist, where they have, it's almost like one big like a courtroom, They have all these rules, and if you break a rule, you just die. It's simpler that way. They're probably, you
only just die.
well, because it's the law. You broke a law. I can only imagine someone who's smart enough who can probably utilize that ability and go, no, I didn't break a law. And then, like, if you had a lawyer character, that'd be perfect if they ever went to Mechanist, because they'd be like, actually, I didn't break the law, and that would break the entire system. And then Mechanist, all these Mardrons would have to go, he's right, we need to change the structure. That'd be fun. That'd be a really fun game. So let's go back to the cosmology. Let's choose one more. I think, let's see. Charge. All right, so that's Mechanist. Let's go to the complete opposite. Let's go directly across the cosmology wheel, and let's go to Limbo. I know you were talking about it.
I used it as an example.
Limbo is the plane of pure chaotic neutral. It is home to Slads, which you fought before.
The plane. Bad news.
Yeah. This plane is supreme chaos, a twisting quicksilver place with bits of pieces of rock, trees, and the four elements, entire landscapes, strong winds, random pockets of liquid and solid and gas just floating within midair. Intelligent beings can subjugate the environment around them, causing the chaos to settle into forms of their desires. It is believed Limbo has 5 layers, but they are all generally the same. So if you are strong enough within Limbo, you can grab this pure chaos and shape it into something, if you wanted to. So imagine you're walking on a land, and all of a sudden the land itself starts to become sticky. It becomes like muck. And then you walk a little further, and then you almost fall through the entire land, and it turns into gas. It is constant elements changing forms. Trees become fire, fire becomes water, water becomes electricity. It just constantly. It would suck to live there. Absolutely. Doesn't help with the insanity at all. Yes. We have a Geth Sarai in our party. He longs to return to Limbo. That is insane. Are you kidding me? That's amazing. Oh boy. I won a roller skating I won a roller skating Limbo contest as a kid. True story. God damn it. God damn it, Siege. But yeah, you fought Slads before. Slads are absolutely a nightmare of creatures to fight.
It's funny because I realized what you were pitting us against because I watched the video with you. Like, Amber knew and went, oh, fuck, in the moment. Vera didn't know, but I was like, we're fucked. They're all bad news. One's worse than the other.
Let's talk about Slads for a hot second.
No. We're talking about planes. We ain't talking about Slads.
All right, let's do one more plane then. I said the last one was plane, but we went through this one pretty quick. Let's ask you a question. Do you want to do an upper plane or a lower plane?
So we'll do lower.
Lower? Let's do something interesting. Okay, I have a good one. Let's see. Maybe. Okay. There's a certain one that I want to touch upon for a particular reason, and I can't find it. Shit. Oh well.
Well, not that one then. You take too long.
What was that?
I said not that one then. You're taking too long.
All right. Fine. All right, let's do lawful evil. Now, I don't know how to pronounce it, and Shady has been so helpful in actually providing me with the correct spelling. Gethana, I think it's Gehenna. This plane is midway between neutral evil and lawful evil in alignment. Each 4 layers are composed of mountains and smoky, burning volcanoes with no bases or peaks. Everything was built in or carved into the sides of mountains, and gravity is at a 45-degree angle within the ground. Deeper layers have less heat and volcanic activity, and there is no natural light or heat. It's all coming from like this volcano-like space. Yeah, it's essentially what it is. It's like, let's see here. It's almost like a constant exploding. Like it's essentially like the river Styx. It's between these two, and it's not generally nice to be there. There's a layer where there's a land of falling ash and burning snow.
You know
think
what?
of that.
That sounds like Silent Hill. I was gonna say.
Holy shit! Yes.
I was like, you want to be on top of the river Styx in a vessel of some kind. You don't want to be in the river Styx.
Wow, that's Silent Hill. Yeah. There's a layer where the air is nothing but foul, acidic smoke for 10 miles, and would cause blinding would create a blindness on unprotected eyes, as well as sort of effects onto the lungs.
In general, Siege, I always loved Greek mythos. I think Disney gave people the most visual, not to say accurate visual, but some semi-accurate. But yeah, I mean, it literally is a river of souls of dead. You don't want to be in there and be like, yeah, this is fun.
So it says here, even lesser deities tend to avoid Gehenna. Those who lean towards law were recruited into the hierarchy of the 9 hells, because that's where the lawful evil is. And those who favor chaos head towards Hades. There are a list of powerful beings that call this place home, and they have some interesting titles, like Bahal, the Lord of Murder. Gaxnolik, yeah, I tried to say that right. The god of kobolds. Jesus.
Figures the annoying one would be down there.
Yethkatu, Exavim, the bastion of hate. Like, these are all like minor deities that call this place home. Probably because they're not really popular in the other 2 planes that are next door. I can only imagine. There is a mind flare god that lives here as well. There is a Math Midway, a sort of Celtic god of magic, also known as Cornygrave. There is a Lich Lord that lives here as well as a god of cloud giants. Yeah, even though it is, think of it this way: this is a minor place with some minor powerful gods. But if these guys sound scary, just imagine what the real place looks like when you go to either Hades or the 9 hells. So if your DM ever says you want to go to the 9 hells, look him in the face and go, hell no. Unless that sounds fun.
No.
Steve has made mention that he wants to do a 9 hells thing.
Like we said, when that happens, hell's gonna have to literally freeze over, because the man has been saying it for 2 years. I understand busy, but I'm like, stop saying it, because we ain't gonna do it until you finally get your shit together. Well,
while we start to close off today's stream, guys, just a reminder, we stream every Friday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and although we are not...
8:30 Pacific Standard Time.
8:30 Pacific Standard Time.
2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Saturdays.
Although we are not streaming tomorrow.
Yeah.
However, if you're interested in our numerous one-shots, you can always check us out on our YouTube channel, and we'll be replaying Malaholics, one of our 90s, like modern 90s D&D Clash one-shot that we did several months ago, and that was super fun to do. So go ahead, you can check out that replay here on the channel, or you can go on our YouTube and watch it anytime you want. We are preparing for I think it might be our last one-shot for the year, maybe?
It might be, because July might be a little dicey.
Yeah. So for those who are new or just joining us, we're expecting a level 0 fighter or human.
If I stand up in the stream, you will
it's fine.
more than see him.
So we are going to probably take some time off, but we'll find some ways to provide some content. You always follow us on our socials, but we are planning one final one shot, Ripples and Waves, a story of underwater adventure and an encroachment on the undersea. In the sea.
My last one, probably, at least for this year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe in the holidays, but I don't do holiday one-shots generally. It's normally you or we get somebody else to do it. And not to say I wouldn't object into doing one.
It'll have to be ironically enough, it's going to have to be how Trisha handled hers, where only one of us will be able to participate.
Yeah. We'll see. We might be able to. He might be a good sleeper.
Maybe, but we'll be open to join some one shots and some campaigns or like as a guest player in the following months. So that's I think as far as we'll be able to handle it for a while.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for joining us, everyone. Don't forget to paint those happy trees. I'm gonna go back to this voice now. And just enjoy your Sunday. I mean, what the hell am I saying?
Saturday.
That's coming up, and then your Sunday, and then your Monday.
Happy little trees hit you in the head.
I haven't finished my dinner yet.
Obviously.
Yeah, it hasn't hit me. All right, guys, check it then. Laters.
Bye.